order. Mr. Powell, could you lead us in prayer?
If you desire, would you pray with me, please? Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight, recognizing and honoring your power and your might, and we plead for your guidance, your direction in all that we do to serve the people of Person County in an honorable and noble way. And it's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Mr. Clayton, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
Mr. President, stand up, please. Place the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, everybody have a chance to look at the agenda? Anything they want to add or delete?
Move for approval.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the agenda is set for the evening. We need a motion to go into public hearing, but, well, let's just open the public hearing first. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, we have, I think it's 21 people to speak in favor of and 5 to speak against. Well, this is a quasi-court, if you will, and everybody that's gonna speak tonight needs to be sworn in. So if everybody that wants to speak will come in and find a Bible, we'll take care of that. And then we'll start hearing conversation.
Do you want to do them in groups or all at one time?
I don't know if we can do them.
Have them link up.
Y'all can come around this way. Everyone that signed up to speak in any capacity needs to come forward and put your hand on the Bible to do the oath.
Gonna do about 3 groups.
All right, now we'll start out by saying aye, and then you state your name, and then I'll read the rest of it. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Do solemnly swear or affirm. That
solemnly swear or affirm.
I'll just read that and I'll say I do. That I will tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, as testimony offered in public hearing for special use permit request by David Walker for a recreational vehicle park on 16.66 acres located on Alley Craig Road. If you so swear, say I do.
I do.
All righty. I would like to start with Ms. Lori Oakley. All right, let me establish a little bit of ground rule here. Since we've got so many to speak tonight, I would like to establish 30 minutes for each side, either for or against. So we'll have to take, say the 21 divided by 30, that'll give you how many minutes you get to speak. But
Since it's only 5 on the against, you don't give them the same, just give everybody 2 minutes.
is 2 minutes enough? Okay. All right, Lori, if you would, I'll just start it.
Waiting for the PowerPoint presentation. While that's loading, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I would like to state that all zoning ordinance and state statutes have been met for this public hearing. The case you have before you, SUP 05-18, is a special use permit request by David Walker for a recreational vehicle park on 16.6 acres located on Alley Clay Road, a portion of tax map and parcel 58-1 in the R zoning district. And to give you just a little bit of background on the proposed site, for those of you who aren't familiar, and it's a little hard to see, you've got Alley Clay Road up here at the top. You've got North Main Street, or what I like to call Old 501, on the west bordering the site. The Highland Place subdivision was approved by the commissioners back in 2000, and the existing portion of the subdivision is in phase 1, and that are these lots over here. Phases 2, 3, and 4 are the remaining lot, which the applicant proposes using 16 acres of for the RV park development. And specifically, phase 3 and a portion of phase 4 is proposed for the park, and it's for this area over here on the parcel. The applicant is requesting to install 87 RV sites in a phased development sequence. The site will also have a clubhouse, an office, and a bathhouse kind of gathered around this central area here. And open areas with walking trails around the perimeter of the site. That right there is a typical RV layout, which kind of shows the RV parking area, potential boat parking, and also the space for the car to park if needed. The applicant plans to use city water and sewer to serve this site. The city of Roxborough has not approved the site yet, but approval would be required prior to obtaining a zoning permit from the county. The applicant has requested to install a gravel drive and parking lot under section 81-1 of the zoning ordinance. Each RV site will have its own parking with 14 additional parking spots. 9 of those will be at the clubhouse / office, and 5 will be at the bathhouse. There is a 50-foot buffer around the perimeter of the site. There's also an intermittent stream that runs in the northeast corner of the site, and the planning ordinance does not have any requirements for intermittent streams, also referred to as blue line streams. That stream will be regulated by the State Division of Water Resources and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers if there are any buffering requirements. The property is located in the Roanoke watershed and not subject to additional restrictions, and it does not lie within a flood hazard area. Section 74-1B of the planning ordinance goes on to state additional requirements for campers and RV parks. Those are on the screen in front of you. They were also listed in your staff report. They basically talk about the minimum lot size of the RV park, the density, and the buffer requirements. The Person County Land Use Plan identifies the proposed site as suburban residential. Suburban residential includes a mixture of uses, including residential, commercial, office, industrial, public, and institutional. And Appendix O of the Land Use Plan lists goals and objectives for the county, including 6.1.4, which is to coordinate with public and private agencies to provide lands, facilities, and programs for the enrichment of leisure activities for the citizens of the county. And 6.7 to encourage private enterprise development of recreational facilities. Planning staff recommends that if the board approve the request, the following conditions be placed on the special use permit, and that is that the applicant is to obtain all permits and approvals necessary from the county GIS department, planning and zoning department, inspections department, environmental health department, City of Roxborough Public Works Department, and also obtain any permits that are required from the state of North Carolina, and also that the applicant shall subdivide the parcel to match the submitted site plans for SUP 05-18. At the December 13th, 2018 meeting of the Planning Board, the board voted unanimously 4-0 to recommend denial of SUP 05-18 after determining that findings of fact number 3 and 4 were not met for the following reasons. The board was unsure as what the impact of the proposed RV park would have on the adjacent property values. The board was concerned about the unknown water and sewer layout and also the solid waste management. The board was concerned about potential traffic problems. And lastly, they were not sure if a fence was needed around the perimeter of the site. The board will need to address the 4 findings of fact for this proposal and whether it is in keeping with the Person County Comprehensive Plan. If you have any questions of me at this time, I'll be happy to answer them. I do know that the applicant is present and they also have a PowerPoint presentation that they would like to present.
All right, has anybody got any questions for Laura? All right. Mr. Walker, you would,
Actually, we'll just go down the list, I'll speak in favor of.
okay, all right. Does anybody want to speak in favor of this now? Who wants to go?
Do I vote?
Maggie Gaster, excuse me.
She's got the PowerPoint presentation. But she'll need a little more than 2 minutes.
Okay.
That's it. You need the power.
It's all right. All right. Good evening. I'm Maggie Gaster. I'm from Rougemont, North Carolina, and I'm working with my father on this RV project. And I have passed out packets for all of you, so everything I'm reading off is in that packet for you guys to reference as well. I want to start off by thanking you for being here tonight. And also, we wanted to apologize that we didn't have the information we're presenting for you tonight available for the planning board at the initial meeting. But we do have the findings that they were curious about and wanted us to have to present to you tonight. Okay. So what my presentation will show you is that we're going to address why the land use will not substantially injure the value of the adjoining property, why it's a public necessity, how it will be in harmony with the immediate area, and that it is in conformity with the comprehensive plan. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to start off by having a little bit of an economic breakdown for us to look at. On the next slide, you'll see that the RV park will provide a significant economic growth for the county. Over the next 10 years, it could provide tens of millions of dollars for the county. So we've got some information set by the General Services Administration. The per diem for meals and incidentals in this immediate area is $59 a day. And that information was found at federalpay.org. So the proposed RV park would provide the opportunity for a minimum of 87 people to spend that per diem of $59 a day in Person County at shops, grocery stores, gas stations, and all the local businesses. So you've got 87 RV sites spending $59 a day. We're looking at $5,133 a day in the county. In a year's time, that could be $1.8 million. In 10 years' time, that could be $18.7 million spent in the county at restaurants, grocery stores, convenience stores, clothing shops, for all everyday necessities. Now, as far as the current use of the land, currently the county receives $638 in property taxes every year. If we continue to build on that land and sell houses at the current rate that we have over the last 18 years, it will take 147 years to build out. However, if the property is approved for the use of the 87 RV sites, we could collect $470,000 a year in rent. So just a breakdown for you of the math. We've got the per diem being spent every year, $1.8 million. We've got the income of the RV park at $470,000. So we're looking at $2.3 million generated annually in the county. Over 10 years, we're looking at $23.4 million divided among the city and the county. That's the money being spent in the county from our RV guests. That's the RV park paying water bills, electric bills, taxes, and property taxes. Now, as far as the aesthetics of the proposed park, I've got some photos to share with you all. We're using the examples from Jones RV Park in Alamance County as a model. This is the look and the feel that we want to provide our guests at the RV park and provide for the county. We also wanted to allow for a visual for everyone to know what they can expect the property to look like, as well as the type of RV park guests that we will be attracting and allowing at the park. So here you can see, this is what you'd see from Alley Clay Road. This is what you see from the main road entering at Jones RV Park. A really nice sign, very nicely landscaped area when you come in. As you enter, they have a playground and a clubhouse. We would definitely have some communal areas at the park. This is an example of a bathhouse. Inside, you can see the facilities are really nice, always kept clean by the guests, and a full-time groundskeeper is in charge of that as well. Inside the clubhouse, you'll find a front desk, lounge area for the guests to congregate whenever the clubhouse is open. They can utilize that. And here's an example of what the grounds look like. As you can see, that's also very nicely landscaped, always kept clean, and you can see outside of these RVs, there's no personal property being kept out during the day. So everything's really nice and neat. The RVs are nice quality RVs. Here's some more photos of the grounds. It's nice and wooded, and we would like to keep the RV site wooded as well to provide for privacy for the RV guests as well as anyone else around the neighborhood. And this is just a photo of an example of some of the RVs that we see in these types of parks and that travel to the RV sites. This one here, it retails for no less than $1 million, and that doesn't include the attached matching enclosed trailer there. All right, moving on to the harmony with the surrounding area. Let me catch up on mine. In the surrounding area of the proposed RV park, you'll find residential, single-family housing, rental properties along with industrial. And we provided our site plan over here. If I can just reference it for a second. You'll see that there's convenience stores, a grill, there's a car wash, there's manufacturing along Old 501 with the parachute manufacturer, and then another manufacturing building as well. You've got the power plant all along Alley Clay. On one side, you've got rental houses, you've got the residential homes on the other side, and then more apartments and rental housing further back. So it's a good mix of everything in that area. So that's why we feel that it would be in harmony what's in existence now. Also, you'll see from the photos I just showed you that this RV park would add aesthetic charm to the neighborhood with pleasant curb appeal and a family-friendly community. So we think that it would be a great addition. As far as the adjoining, the value of the adjoining or budding property, in your packet there's a letter from Wayne Ross Appraisals. His letter states that his research indicates no empirical data suggesting measurable differences in residential market values of homes in the area after construction of such park. Then also to expand on that, we have TJ Gaster with Phelps Realty here tonight, and he's done research on comps in the state of properties within 4 miles of other RV parks, and he'll share that when we open up to the public hearing. Now, also as far as a public necessity, we found that the RV park is a public necessity due to the following findings. The county has an ordinance that states that an RV may not be parked on private property for more than a week at a time. So those folks that own RVs, they need storage, and we would provide storage for people that are owning RVs, and then also if they have out-of-town guests that they'd like to visit for more than a week, obviously the RV park would provide for that. And also the tourism department and the Chamber of Commerce stated that they receive no less than 5 calls a week for people seeking available RV sites in the county. Now, moving on to the comprehensive use plan. I've pulled some information from PersonCounty.net on the land use plan, and it simply states that it includes land use plans for recreation, transportation, agriculture, residential, and commercial, and that the overall goals of the land use planning process is to provide for orderly growth and development, to identify suitable areas suitable for different types of land uses, to protect public investment in community infrastructure such as water and sewer systems, school systems, parks, and recreational sites, and to reduce urban sprawl to maximize wise and efficient use of limited natural and man-made resources and also to provide development in areas that will minimize conflict with farming operations. So I cannot find any reason that the proposed RV park would not be in general conformity with those plans and goals. The RV park would generate income that supports the overall goals of the land use plan. It would reduce urban sprawl by using land that is already approved for residential use in the area, and it is not conflicting with any farming operations. So just to wrap things up, our presentation, we found no information supporting that the RV park would negatively affect the value of adjoining property. We found that this is a public necessity, and it would be in fact in harmony with the surrounding area, and it does conform to the comprehensive use plan. Do you all have any questions for me or my father at
You
this
didn't
time?
speak to the phasing. 87 sites, how soon will they all be complete?
How soon will they all be complete after construction starts?
It could be up to a year, year and a half. That's a lot of variables with that.
Everybody got any other questions? All
Thank
right.
you.
Anybody? Let's see. T.J. Gaster?
Yes, sir.
Thank you all for your time. My name is TJ Gaster. I'm with Phelps Realty in Hillsborough. Between myself and Mr. Phelps, we have 34 years experience in residential sales, the real estate market, comparative market analysis, and appraisals. So what I did is I went on MLS when I learned of the concern of property devaluation and I've dropped a pin on 2 different RV sites. The first being Triangle RV Park in Durham. Let's look at it, 5909 Wilkins Drive. And what I did on that pin, I did a 4-mile radius surrounding that park, specifically from that pin number. And over the last 3 years, we have either sold, not my company personally, but the real estate market overall, 293 homes have sold or are under contract in that time frame. The high being 1.4 million, the low being 99,000. And the average price of homes, $428,169. I say that because I can't find any devaluation of property. I'm not saying property is going to increase because an RV park comes in, but that's just because I can't find it. Increase, obviously, we all know, is due to economic growth over the past 3 years. The other pin I dropped was Jones Station. That's 2710 Jones Drive. Once again, a 4-mile radius. 328 homes sold in the last 3 years, with the high being at 1.5 million and the low being 36,600. The average is $238,615. So in the findings, I would have to agree with Wayne. I can't see where any properties are devalued by an RV park.
You got any comparisons of before and after the RV park?
No, sir. That was just over the last 3 years at each site. And I actually was going to look at the one at Hyco Lake as well, but considering that's considered sort of a vacation area, I didn't do that because home values are so high already out there.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Brad Walker,
I was hoping to,
you want to go last?
yes,
Okay.
closing statement, thank you, sir.
Bill Togus? Togus?
Thank you for your time. I'm Bill Tugas, the airport manager. We get many calls for RVs and for storage, and during our events, we have aircraft fly-ins, and we usually have 10 to 15 that are trying to get RVs on site, which we don't care to have at the airport. So to have one locally would be a great benefit, along with everything else for the economy. And that's all I have to say.
All right. Mary Hartshorn? Did I get that right?
Morning. It's Marty, but that's all right. Thank you
Oh,
very much,
excuse me.
gentlemen. Appreciate it. I have looked at the need for an RV park based on hospital experience and the fact that Duke is in desperate need of additional housing. Most people coming in to Duke are going to be much, much more comfortable in their RV than they are going to be in a hotel room, especially when you are facing death. I've talked with the patient affairs people at Duke, and they provide a concierge who they tell me they handle between 200 and 400 requests per week, and trying to help. They refer most of those away to some other department or some other solution. However, they do handle between 5,000 and 10,000 people per year. These people are obviously mostly from outside of North Carolina. They're looking primarily for where will we stay when we come to treatment at Duke. Duke does the Ronald McDonald House that will house 22 families. They do have some host families that will take care of the families while the patient's in hospital. For UNC, the Southeast Credit Union, believe it or not, has 35 family facility for people coming into UNC, but both are obviously very inadequate. We have a personal experience. My husband was diagnosed and given the death sentence in 2004, and we were forced to come to Duke because it was the only hospital available for the treatment he needed. Duke did save him, but and we did have help once we got here. But let me tell you that coming in when you are grief-stricken and scared out of your mind to a Comfort Inn is not the way to do it. This RV park will provide for those people at Duke and UNC both a safe haven of the comfort of their own, personally owned housing. And that's all I have to tell you. Thank you
Mr.
very
Chairman,
much.
would it be permissible for the speakers to give the county they reside in? We don't want your whole address, but at least maybe the county that you reside in.
I reside in Chatham County.
Okay. Jennifer Grant?
I'm not even gonna walk up there because I don't have much to add. I just wanna state that, I am in favor of approval for the RV park, and I encourage you to vote in favor, and I'm in Durham.
Okay. Tim Grant?
I repeat the same as my wife. I'm also from Durham County.
Okay, thank you. Bill McClaremont?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Did I get it right?
You McClymont. It was very good, actually, than most people. Okay, so I was interested in who was going to occupy this park when I found out about it, and I looked up and found a study done by a Jill Festuel in the RV Association Members Profile, a demographic segmentation and lifestyle exploration done in 2014. And I can provide this to you if you'd like later on. And basically what it outlines in its 16 pages is the fact that close to 9 million households in the United States have RVs. Of that is, and it estimates that it's a $37 billion economy. The survey was given out to 100,000 people, of which 30,000, which is pretty good, a third, responded to. Of those 30,000, they used, for statistical reasons, 15,000 of them to generate their statistics. Of that, 2/3 of these people who own RVs are retired people. Of those people, 50% of them are over 65. 32% of them are from 50 to 64, making over 50 a population of about 82%. And as I said before, the 2/3 of them were retired. And also, the other thing that was interesting in the survey was that 37% of the RV owners are from the South, 29 West, and 20 from the Midwest, and 13 from the Northeast. So you clearly have a good population of RV owners here. And the survey goes on to cluster the RV owners into, in my 90 seconds here, I'm not going to bug you guys with exactly how they did this, but there was destination RVers and touring RVers, and they have different statistics on here, and they're basically all the same. but it does prove the fact that there is a robust RV industry, and it does prove that most of the people are from 52 and older. And just for the heck of it, I printed out this chart here that shows crime as a function of age. And for anybody who's interested in people running into the RV park and creating trouble, as you can see, as it gets up to where most of us are right here, the statistics go way down. Okay. So in conclusion, I believe that the proposal will improve the finances and reputation of the county, and therefore will be a positive step forward. Thanks for your time.
And you reside?
What
Sorry?
county?
Oh, I'm sorry, I reside in Orange County, but I have property in this county, in person.
Okay. John Wall. Is it Wall or Will?
Wall.
Okay.
Thank you guys and ladies for your time. I just want to say I reside in Person County. I grew up in Durham, which is just down the street from the Triangle RV Park that was brought up as an example earlier. And I was friends with the manager of that particular facility. I noticed I would see all these really expensive Class A diesel motorhomes with a trailer behind them go up the road toward this RV park, and I couldn't figure out, where these people were going, on my street, which was, there wasn't on the way to anything. There's no lake there, and I was curious about that. So I went to the manager of the park, and I said, where are these people coming from? It just seems odd that they would turn off of the main thoroughfare and come kind of, through the back roads to this RV park. And just to echo the sentiments from earlier, they were patients at Duke for the Cancer Center for cancer treatment, for long-term treatment. They were patients that were going into that area to spend a lot of time. And he said that they stayed full. They had way more requests than they could handle. They were constantly turning people away, and as soon as one would leave the park, there'd be a waiting list to get in there. So just to echo the need for more facility. And also I own a RV myself, and it's a quick getaway. You can take that anywhere you want to go. You can park for the weekend. You spend your money wherever you're at. You live there. You basically take up residency there for whatever amount of time that you're there. And so I think it'd be beneficial to Person County to have a place where people could go and spend their money with us for the betterment of our people and our lifestyles. Thank you.
Ms. Alvarez?
I'm in favor.
Okay. Nick Walker?
I'm in favor of it.
Okay.
County?
What county?
Orange.
Ms. Alvarez? Okay. Norman Walker?
I'm in favor of it.
Okay, you from Orange County? Okay. Richard? Can you read that name? Oh,
I reside in Orange County, and I'm for the park. I think it's a great economic chance for the county. I currently have a plane at the airport. I definitely see the need for it. I think it would definitely add growth. I'm certainly for it, and I've seen Brad take care of projects for years. I've known him for 20+ years. He's always been positive. He works well with his children. Super guy. I can see nothing but positivity from this. Thank you.
all right, I got a little trouble with this one. Willie Jantz, I believe. I believe this is Jentz.
William Jones, maybe?
Jones? Okay.
Or Jentz.
Yeah, I guess that is William Jones.
Yeah, I was just more worried about the. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, since William Jones, I was more worried about the value. Really gonna have an impact on me. I own the property around it from 60 all the way around to 68. So I owe like 13 acres around it. So if it's not gonna drop the value of the property, I don't, but I still think we need more research on whether the property value gonna drop, so I'm against it.
Wrong. Okay. David Birch.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a local restaurant owner in Roxborough. I live in Orange County, but I make my money in Person County, so I think this would be a very, very good project that Brad's got. He actually has done stuff for me in the past. He actually built the smoke shop, our smokehouse at the restaurant. I've had nothing but good things to say about Brad, and I'm 100% behind this. So thank you for your time.
Adam Walker.
Adam Walker, and I'm for the RV park from a pure economic standpoint. I live in Orange County, but I do a lot of my business in Person County. It's nothing but good for the economy. When you bring more people, you bring more money, and that's what the economy is fueled on, and that's what my business is fueled on. So, and everybody's business is fueled on.
What business you in?
I'm a contractor, and the people coming to this RV park wouldn't necessarily want to have a house built by me, but they're going to generate profit for all the businesses around me, and when other people are making money, that allows all of us to make money, and that's really what everybody's looking to do. Thank you.
All right, Victoria Walker.
I'm Vicki Walker. I reside in northern Person County, and I am for this. Maggie is my daughter, and I think it will boost the economy in Person County. I think people will spend money here, and I think aesthetically it will improve the property out there. Thank you.
All right, is there anybody else who wants to speak in favor of this? If not, we'll go to the ones that oppose it. Emily Nestor.
Hello, I might need a little bit more time than 2 minutes. Okay, I want to say thank you for your time, and also I reside at 45 Eli Court. That's going to be the 50-foot mark. It's around like right here, 50 foot. Also, I want you guys to remember that this is about proving facts, also the 4 facts that we need to prove. My fiance and I not only ones who made that life-altering decision to purchase our home in the developing subdivision because of the communicated plans to complete the subdivision as previously proposed. Now this developer wants to change these plans to something we did not sign on for. The copy I gave you guys of our restrictive covenants that the developer gave us as residents of the subdivision. 1 states are not allowed to utilize trailers as temporary or permanent rental units. 2, must have stick-built or modular homes that maintain a specific roof pitch and general outward appearance. And 3, may not alter the conditions of these covenants without an approval of the majority of the property owners. I cannot see how he can utilize one of the unfinished phases of the subdivision, which happens to be directly adjacent to my newly constructed home, for something he would not allow us to do on our own property. Mr. Walker's presentation regarding the potential economic impact of the project is interesting, but irrelevant to the decision, because the commissioners must affirm each finding of fact in order to approve the request, and none of the following findings speak to the economic impact of the community. However, I can provide the following information regarding those facts. Finding number 2 stipulates the use meets all required conditions and specifications. One of these requirements is providing water and sewer service. I gave you a email that is sent to my fiance from the city that the approval has not yet been obtained, and that he did send that email from today, the 7th, that it has not been obtained for water/sewer service for anything other than the continuation of the previously approved subdivision. Finding number 3 stipulates the use will not substantially injure the value of adjoining or abutting property, or that the use is public necessity. While the developer has addressed this item with that testimony that on the surface might suggest there will be no negative impact to the property value, the fact remains that there has been no numerical evidence submitted to verify this. There remains no comps in the area and to use as a basis. Section 71-1 of the county ordinance stipulates it is the responsibility of the developer to prove that there will be no negative impact. I don't believe it can be said this has happened. As TJ mentioned, Triangle RV Park, there is not a subdivision or houses surrounding the park 50 foot from the park like our subdivision. Also, TJ is not an appraiser to say if this will devalue our property. Also, finding number 4 stipulates the location and character of the use, if developed according to the plan, has submitted and approved, will be in harmony with the area in which is to be located and in general conformity of the comprehensive plan. I'll pass around these posters. Okay. Here's the first one, and then this is the second one I'll be talking about shortly. First poster board shows aerial shots of the 3 other RV park sites as well as the proposed site. There's one of them that he had talked about the Jones Park. You will see that these parks are located in sparsely populated, primarily undeveloped areas adjacent to fields and wooded areas. Second poster board shows examples of the existing homes in our subdivision and then the proposed RVs. I believe the commissioners can agree that one is not like the other, like he planned to do 18 years ago. Additionally, Section 60-7 of the county zoning ordinance stipulates that RVs and campers may not be used for dwelling purposes of an individual lot, and no more than one may be stored on a single lot. This proves that the county has already affirmed an RV is not the same as a single-family dwelling, and is therefore not the same character as an existing phase of the subdivision. Also, I gave you a paper of our subdivision. Almost everyone, except the people that did not answer their door, signed and agreed to not meet that it did not meet the character. In conclusion, I ask the commissioners to deny the proposed request, as all required facts cannot be affirmed for this project. Not only are the findings of the fact not affirmed, but would you want this RV park in your backyard or as a nearby neighbor? Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Good presentation. Tammy Hope.
Hey, my name is Tammy Holt. I live at 320 Alley Clay Road, so I live just up the hill from where the RV park is proposed to go. My parents live next door to it. We also own some land that would be adjoining it. And one of our concerns is with an RV park with nothing around it other than some trees and bushes, we might have wanderers over on our land too, which has a pond, which becomes a liability to us. I've lived here all my life, either up the hill or down the hill. One of the things that I think we forgot to look at too was there's already been an RV park approved for the county within like 3 miles from where this one is to house like 100 and some RVs. We drove the distance to see, and it was within 3 miles. That's a whole lot of RVs to be coming in, supposedly. The traffic is already heavy. We have the trucks from the power plant. We live directly across from the power plant. Trucks that are loaded have to come in from North Main Street up to the plant. So we already have a traffic issue with the trucks coming in and leaving. We also have become a cut-through with traffic from the new road to the North Main Street. So along with throwing another 80-some RVs, and now we've got a lot more traffic to deal with too. I'd like to say too, it's not in harmony with the neighborhood. These people was, I feel more sympathy for the people who live in that subdivision. They bought that property and those homes, those nice homes, with the pretense that the whole thing was going to be a subdivision with homes in it. I don't think any of you sitting here would appreciate if your home within 50 feet of your backyard had an RV park sitting in it, and you bought the property assuming and being told that there was going to be homes in that subdivision. So to me, that says a little something right there. Some of them were mentioning the comps. They were doing comps within 4 miles. These people live 50 feet. They're not 4 miles, and they're in a neighborhood where they're trying to stick all these RVs at. And if you notice that all of those who are in favor of, with the exception of 1 or 2 or 3, are out of the county that are looking for us to have this RV park placed in our neighborhood. We already have a power plant in our neighborhood, and that's enough to deal with already. And to stick an RV park in the neighborhood also, with what she said a while ago, we don't really know that it doesn't devalue the property. I don't think it's going to increase the value of the property. And I think that's about it for me.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy Shopman.
I'm Nancy Sharple, 276 Clay Road, and I live beside of this place. I won't have much to say because I'm thinking that some people have done a good job of covering it so far. And remember, people out of town, we live at this place, and bear that in mind. And maybe you'll see why we feel the way we do. I'm not saying there's people that goes to the hospital don't need a place for an RV to be parked or outages. I've worked at a power plant. I know what the outage people is like, and there's some good ones there. But I also know how they behave when they don't see a lady around. So, and I'm not going any further with that. But I am against it. I'm not against Brad Walker. I know what he's trying to do. I want you to understand what we're trying to do. We live there. He lives in Rougemont. And I'm sure that he appreciates everybody from Orange and Durham and wherever coming over and speaking for it, and I don't doubt that you're not for it. But don't forget, we live next to this thing. We fought a power plant, and they put it in there on the same thing that this is to go in. It's a land use type thing. And I know what a land use thing can be. It's just as bad as if you rezone the thing for big stuff, because that's a big thing over there. At the last meeting, something was brought up on the trucks running in and out. And they seemed to think that it was said that the trucks weren't going to be a problem because it's a, fare through there from 501 to that bypass. Well, I live across the road from this thing too. Those trucks, they come down the road every morning like clockwork at 7. You can bet at 7 o'clock they're coming. Now, they're not rowdy. They don't make a lot of racket for us. They try to be good about it. But have you ever tried to get out of your driveway one morning, maybe when you had to go to a doctor's appointment? You got a tractor trailer sitting right here on this side of your driveway. On this side, you got another tractor trailer. And you got to get your vehicle out in that road, and you can't see. I've seen that. We've had that problem myself, trying to get out of there. And no, they're not bad people. I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying what it creates for us that lives there with this stuff. Up the road there in front of the property where the neighbors live up there. DOT goes up there every so often, very often in fact, and checks the weight load on these things. I don't know, Maggie Lane, do they ever mess you up in trying to get out when they checking those ways? I'm sure they do, because they're gonna check a bunch of them. They don't just check one or two, they stay there a while. And it was told that they could go the other way. Well, now I talked with the manager of the power plant. He told me this, he says those trucks had to, it's DOT, it's law. They gotta come in from 501 on our end because of a weight load, 3/10 of a mile to the driveway of that plant there. That's why they line up in front of our house. And if you got an RV park, I don't know what time all these people's gonna be leaving, but you take, 80-some lots there, if all of them's filled up, and you got a bunch trying to get out one day, and you got a line of trucks all backed up through there, maybe DOT decides this is the morning, I'm gonna get up in there and check these folks out. It's a nightmare, folks. And we've seen changes. We've lived there, my husband and I, we've been there married life on that spot where we're at. And we've seen that road grow from just a few houses to where it is now. And there's a lot of them there. We've seen traffic pick up and come down through there. You don't know your neighbors anymore. There's so many of them. We used to know everybody by name. And I'm not against any of the people there, but I can tell you this much. Crime went up in that neighborhood. You can go to the law and ask them. There was one place up there where, in one of them settlements, where there happened to be some young men getting in trouble, breaking into houses on Alley Clay Road. We've had ours broke in one night. It's not a good feeling at 3 o'clock in the morning and somebody's in your house. So that's what happens. More people, lots of things happen. Crime goes up. Not all people are bad. The majority of them's good. That's right. I'm not going to point a finger at anybody in here. I figured every one of them's good people in here. They got a plan. Brad's got a plan. And of course, listening to it, he told people one thing and he's trying to do another. Well, I don't know that myself because I didn't deal with him on that deal. But I just want y'all to know how we feel, and I'm sure I done shot my 2 minutes up the creek, so I think I'll just be quiet and sit down there, but hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say to you in here.
Thank you. I think this is Joshua Holt.
I'm Joshua Holt. Have an 8.5 acre plot roughly 600 feet away from the proposed RV park with a roughly 2.5-year-old house that Randy Moore built. I'd like to address a couple of issues raised from the last planning meeting and to add to the already addressed concerns. Of course, traffic concerns are already constrained on Alley Clay Road due to the residents' use and the commercial use from Capital Power. And the RV park will worsen the already bad traffic conditions, especially in the morning when the road is congested with semi-trucks. Of course, like Nancy was saying, my granny, there's a 6.5-ton weight limit with a 0.3 mile sign from 501 side, and that goes to right the corner of my property. So of course, when they load it, they have to come by the RV park. Now the planning board, they were concerned with the traffic conditions, and I did not hear any mention from this crowd of a document by DOT saying that it would not be a traffic concern. So therefore that kind of proves nothing. Prior to the last planning meeting, the special use application states the zoning proposal sign will be picked up October 30th. The issue of the sign not being posted and readily visible, as stated on page 3 of the special use permit application, was addressed on December 13th by residents and the planning board. Only after this concern was raised did the sign appear for the RV park to allow the neighbors to know of the proposed changes. So we knew nothing of this, really, because the sign was not there. Now currently I'm going to Liberty University and nearing the end of a Master of Business Administration. By no means does that make me a professional in economics or business. But I did happen to notice that your financial proposal for economic development, although it seems great, I did notice you lack the unknown coefficients in your business model, which concludes your $18.3 million return to the economy Well, it really doesn't prove that. Sorry, excuse me. Now, Alley Clay Road, we don't have any mountains. We don't have a lake. We don't have a beach. We don't have a Duke Medical. We don't have a UNC Chapel Hill that they're talking about. Most of these things are quite a bit of ways from us. But we do have the power industry, for a little while longer anyway, in Roxborough, which hires more contractors than any other company. Now, contractors will most likely be what's in this RV park, and as you stated, crime is a function of age. However, I'm not sure how the nature of your clientele will prove any of the findings of fact. The 87 spots worth of brief random visitors will not care about our community, and therefore they will not respect it. This park will not be in harmony with the community, which does not meet the fourth requirement. And of course, I did also notice that many people for this park don't live in Roxborough. So I would like to request that you all deny the RV park for being on Alley Clay Road.
Where do you go? Is this your property right here? Where's your property at?
It's right on the other, their property swings this way, mine's right here.
Okay, so it's not is it adjoining?
No, 600 feet this way.
Okay.
It's right here, this earshot, definitely. I can hear them already.
All right, Terry Neely.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Terry Neely. I'm actually the plant manager at Capital Power. And Nancy, I appreciate what all you said about the plant. We try to be good neighbors over there. We do have, at a given day, we have anywhere from 35 to 55 transfer trucks that do come in and out of that plant. We regulate them to help with the neighborhood. I've only been here 3 years, guys, so I'm still learning a little bit of what we've done, but I understand that we have told them they can't come on our property until 7 o'clock. So that's the reason you hear them at 7. But if people work an outage, and we have people working our outage, but one thing about this, the numbers you got were for a whole year's worth for the place being full. We've got a 10-day outage at our place. So I'll be honest with you, I really can't see this place being 87 campsites full for the whole year. So the numbers aren't quite what they really would be. Because even I just come from Myrtle Beach last week, campground, and it's probably 30% full, and that's the beach. So there only be people there mainly during the outage time, I would think. We will probably even have people there. I can't say I'm for it or against it, but I know it will cause a traffic concern. Like Nancy said, even employees leaving sometimes, you got to spot park in the contractor parking lot. And it being on the curve where the entrance for this would be at, you have to look both ways. Because of I guess some of the shrubbery and the bushes and it being on the curve, it is kind of hard to see. But I can tell you, if an employee comes to my place and he's staying in that campground and Nancy or anybody has a problem with them, I can't control what they do there, but I don't have to have them on my site. And I can tell you, I will tell them that they're not welcome at our plant. I can control that part of it. But I can see it being a congestion problem if you do have 87 sites, and some of what the pictures shown were as large as our transfer trucks that'd be pulling in there if you got that type of camper. But I appreciate people from Orange County coming and talking about what's going on in Roxborough, but y'all were elected to vote for what's best for Roxborough, Person County, and not Orange County. So like I said, I can't say either way whether I'm for or against it, but I'm just letting you know the impact it would have on the area.
Okay. Is there anybody else that wants to speak against this? All right, I've got a couple of questions. Would this be subject to tourism tax on short-term, since it's short-term basis?
The occupancy tax? I don't think so. It would have to be a question for Ron.
I don't think so, but I'd have to research those.
I can explore that and get back to you.
The other question I've got is, Laura, is there already deed restrictions on this property?
If there are deed restrictions, we don't enforce them at the planning department. I would have to refer them to the developer. We only enforce the zoning ordinance, so there could possibly be restrictions. It sounds like there were restrictive covenants brought up, but we don't enforce them at the county level.
No, but it'd be kinda hard for us to approve something that's already got deed restrictions with it.
I can answer that one for you.
Okay.
No, there are no deed restrictions on phase 2, 3, and 4. They are not lots of record. So,
Just to be
there's nothing
technical,
for
were
it.
you sworn in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, there are deed restrictions in the first phase because each and every lot is a recorded lot.
Okay. Does anybody else want to speak to this matter? If not, I entertain a motion to come out.
Got a hand back there.
Huh? Okay.
With the deed restriction, I believe he should have brought that in for evidence to his deed and for that 2, 3, and 4 to let us know.
It's a matter of record at the county.
Okay.
Move to come out of public hearing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're back in regular session. What is the pleasure of the board?
Well, as Ms. Hope mentioned, we had a RV site, I guess, approved about 2 months ago. I didn't vote for that one because I didn't think it was in the right area. I understand the reasoning for the proximity to the city of Roxborough wanting the city water and sewer, but every meeting I've gone to recently, we've talked a lot about the beautification of Person County, especially coming into Person County or into the city of Roxborough. And North Main Street, that side of town, since CNA's left, needs a little help. Now, I don't know if this is the help it needs or not, but I'm not against them, but I prefer them to be further out in the county. And so, I don't know if you want a motion now or you want to hear from the
No,
commissioners.
let us have a
Let's
discussion if you
discuss
don't
it a
mind.
little more.
I want to make, my comment is I was on the board when this was approved. It was approved in 2003 for a subdivision. And the problem I got with it is somebody comes in here with a subdivision plan, and I don't care whether it's on Alley Clay Road or somewhere else, and you get approval from the board for a subdivision, you expect that to be built out as a subdivision. So I understand where they're coming from. They expected houses to be adjoining them. Now, I don't know what type of houses they were expecting, but that's what they were expecting. Now you've got a whole different situation with this coming in. And, you know, I've got this, I understand what he's saying about the restrictions on the rest of it don't apply. It was just on phase 1, but if it was phased as a subdivision, now we're fixing, if you approve this, you're fixing to do a completely different thing with this piece of property. You know, and these people built these houses expecting it to be in houses there. I'm not against the RV park either. I think it's, and the other ones I felt like should have been located a little bit farther from residential. If this gentleman's got some property that's farther out, not as close, or that doesn't already have some type of prior approval for a completely different purpose, you know, I would support it. But where it's located at and what it was originally designed for is giving me a little bit of heartburn. So, you know, it's kind of where I'm at with it. I can see the need for the RV park, but I think this location is what's killing it. And I don't know if all of these facts, from what I'm hearing tonight, some of them may not have been presented at the zoning board because they got a completely negative reception over there, and that's kind of unusual.
Well, a lot of what was presented here tonight was not, yes, sir.
Can I speak to some of this?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. We are out of the public hearing. This is discussion amongst the commissioners now.
Okay. All right, excuse me.
So, I'm sorry.
It's a discussion amongst the commissioners now. We are out of the public hearing.
Okay, so I can't say anything.
I think if they ask a direct question, it would be permitted, but right now it's a discussion amongst the board.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I'm through. I got that, unless somebody's got a.
Anybody got it? Anybody else got anything want to talk about?
So this presentation, to my understanding, was not, I can ask a direct question to him, and I'll ask 2 questions. First, was this presentation presented at the planning board meeting? If not, why wasn't it?
Well, we don't do this. We never come to these meetings. We don't know what to expect with these meetings, and we didn't know that we had to provide all of this information, and we didn't know we were gonna have to fight this hard to utilize our piece of property. And of course, 20 years ago, yes, I had a plan for it, but it's a better plan for it now. And just like any other piece of property, it might be set up for one use, but hey, it can change over time. Things change all the time. So, yeah, and
My second question was regarding security. What were the plans for security around the premises?
well, from my experience with RV parks, security is not a factor. It has never been a factor. I've traveled up and down the East Coast. I've had 3 motorhomes. It's just not a factor.
Yeah, that answers my question. With the, I want to just say from both sides of the for and against, this was a very calm public hearing, and that's very much appreciated. I'm pretty sure speak for the other members of this board. And both sides, both presentations were very impressive, and it's really making us do our job of thinking about the whole aspect of it. I wish the planning board had been able to see the whole scope of this. Unfortunately, that is not the case, and it's before us now. When we look at planning board recommendations, it's always in my tenure, it's always been a rare case that we went against the planning board recommendation. After all, that's why we have a planning board to give us guidance on it, and it could have been a completely 4-0 vote against simply because of this presentation. In regards to the finding of fact that it would not injure the value of the adjoining property, I saw the letter from the appraiser giving some comps, and I think he's a very valid appraiser. And in my opinion, I did not think it would lower the value of properties. However, on the question of fact, in harmony of the finding of facts, yes, things change. You're absolutely right, things change. But when we look at the harmony, we have to look at the existing homeowners that did buy houses there. And with the intent, maybe they had bought the house years ago, and the intent was for it to be a subdivision. And I know if I were a property owner in a subdivision and starting out, buying a house, starting a family, and I think, and I look on down the road thinking that's just going to be more houses, and that would definitely affect, and if I knew that there was any type of potential of it being an RV park, it would definitely affect my my decision of buying a home in that area. So I disagree with the planning board and the finding of fact on question 3, but I have to agree with question 4 with their decision.
I don't want to repeat everything that's just been said. I agree with pretty much what has been said. I do agree that we have a planning board for a specific reason, and I kind of tend to go along with their recommendations. Speaking of value, the immediate impact may not be known, but future value is an unknown. We don't know what's going to happen 5, 10, 20 years from now if we were to have an RV park. And I'm not opposed to growth. I'm not opposed to additional revenues, but in my opinion, the citizens speaking in opposition to this have a compelling, or I would say is compelling evidence in opposing this plan. So that's sort of where I stand with it.
All right.
Move to deny request.
All right, any more discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Walker? I appreciate your effort.
Thank you, gentlemen. I guess we're finished for the night.
Yes.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank y'all for your time. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I thought that was short. We got anybody sign up for informal? What?
Got time now.
All right, we have two people signed up for informal comments. I'd like Tracy Kendrick to come forward.
Hello.
My name's Tracy Kendrick. I reside at 717 Country Club Road in Person County. I'm here concerning item number 6 that's on your agenda, the EDC board discussion that will be coming later. Approximately 2 years ago, this board decided to make a change in the EDC board in which it would be more agile, it would be less bureaucratic, and it would be more for business to try to bring business and industry inside of Person County. And I think the evidence is showing in that we have Pollywood that's coming in here and bringing a bunch of employees in, increasing the tax revenue, and also bringing focus to Person County. We also have the Mega Park, which has got a bond, or excuse me, a amount of money to get the water line installed in a grant. Excuse me, I got a little bit sidetracked there. But they've got a grant to get the water line out to the Mega Park. So I think over the last 2 years, the focus on business and industry and the change to bring more business people in and make it less bureaucratic has been a good thing for Person County. I also think that there are approximately 39,000 residents in Person County, and those 39,000 residents should get more focus than 5 county commissioners on how they vote on this Economic Development Commission board. And so as we move forward and as we get to item number 6 on this agenda, I hope that you'll look at your constituents and think about the impact that we've had already on economic development, and put aside your personal preferences and your personal promises prior to the election, and make sure that we do what's right for the 39,000 and not for the 5 that are sitting up here in front of me. Thank you.
All right, Reverend Theodore Moss.
Don't you show me. Don't you even get it close to me.
Thank you all for allowing me to make this announcement. For sometimes we have been working on a ministry or a group to address the needs of our senior citizens. First of all, this is not to compete with anything that is available, but to help fill the gaps. And as we have pursued this, effective, we heard from the Secretary of State on August the 3rd, 2018, in which our articles of incorporation were approved, Citizens of Lebanon Ministries Incorporated. And some of the things, and following that, within a week, we also got our tax exempt status as well as approval for 501c3. And we want to help in the community. I have been power of attorney for several seniors, and our purpose is to stand in the gap, to go with the seniors when they have to, say, even go to the doctors, visit in the nursing homes, and be that resource person that will make them aware of what their decisions are, rather than telling people what to do. But we want to make sure that they have adequate information to make decisions. I do ask that our community would please come and help support this organization. Any questions for those on the board? I do have a brochure, and I'll pass that you all can look at that brochure. But we are really interested in making sure that our seniors' latter days are better than their former days. Abuse, misuse should have no barrier in how our seniors are taken care of. And thank you all for allowing me to announce this. And I welcome you. Our next meeting is at Compassionate Ministries, first Thursday in February. And Compassionate Ministries is located off of Ridge Road. And you all are welcome to come. We have the backing of the Person County Ministerial Alliance. In fact, their chairman is on our board. And we ask that Person County join us in our effort to make life better for our seniors. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Does anybody else want to make a couple of public comments? All right, if not, everybody had a chance to look at the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Mr. Robert Boot. Yes, sir.
Do you have the presentation?
Yes, he's bringing it up now.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you very much for having us. I'm Robert Boot. I'm with Atkins. I'm the consultant project manager on the U5969 conversion project of US 501 Madison Boulevard here in Roxborough. I'd like to introduce Ben Upshot. He's with NCDOT. And Bruce Payne, he's a designer with Atkins, as well as Tracy Parrott with NCDOT as well. So tonight I'd just like to give you a quick update on the project. The agenda is a description of the project as well as environmental features. We'll talk through the traffic, purpose and need of the project, talk through the crash data, and then talk through the alternatives in the typical section, as well as the schedule and next steps. So again, the project is US 501, converting it from from a 5-lane to a 4-lane median divided roadway with access management, sidewalks, controlling access along the route. It was previously included in the STIP in 3 sections. We're treating the project as one as we move forward. Again, the project setting is it varies from commercial to residential, very business corridor. Environmental features, this just basically shows some of the community resource, historic and environmental features along the corridor. The existing data, or the existing traffic data, shows that it ranges anywhere from 8,000 to basically 28,000 existing volume. That will increase to over 38,000 in 2040. The project was introduced through the CTP basically for reducing congestion, increasing safety. There were 13 intersections identified as high crash locations. We verified that and updated some traffic safety data to take a look at the safety along the corridor. The US 501 is a major north-south corridor. It does go through up to the Virginia line and from Raleigh as well as south into South Carolina. So there is a major north-south component to the corridor. The project need is basically to improve the safety, reduce congestion, increase the mobility along the corridor, increase multimodal transportation, sidewalks, pedestrian use, as well as controlling access. Like I previously said, the range of traffic, AADT, annual average daily traffic, is between 8 to 28,000 vehicles per day, which will increase to over 38,000 vehicles per day. So the congestion, currently there are 7 of the 20 intersections that are operating a level of service E or worse. Level of C is the worst level of service. It's basically failing, sitting through multiple cycles of the signal. This will increase in 2040, in both in terms of number of intersections and the amount of delay. So instead of sitting through one or 2 cycles, you're sitting through 3 or 4 cycles. Again, we looked at the crash data from the last 5 years. Out of 152 crashes, 178 of those were injury, one fatality. This crash rate is twice or more than double the statewide average for a local or for a similar roadway within the state. These heat maps you can see show where the crashes are concentrated, basically along between the Clayton and Ivy intersection, as well as further south by the Main Street, Johnson Street intersections. So again, this is the crash rate, more than double the statewide for 100 million vehicles per miles traveled. So one of the things that we're going to look at is including raised medians, which would reduce the number of crashes. You reduce those traffic collisions and you decrease congestion. This is our typical section. We will have a major raised median, 17.5 foot, two 12-foot travel lanes, as well as 5-foot sidewalks on both sides. This is a list of the the typical, this is the list of the side streets. You'll see on here that there's full intersections. The South Main Street and the Johnson Street will be realigned to T. That is to get rid of the skew on the side streets, which will help with safety and congestion. There's two existing side streets, Reams and Morgan, that will not have an is signalized today, that will not be in the future. However, we will add a excuse me, sorry, I forget which one they were. Clayton and Ivy are the two that aren't signalized currently, that will be in the future. And the reason why we did that is you're looking at the whole corridor and the spacing between the intersections. The more distance you get between the intersections optimizes the traffic between those and through the corridor. There will be a median break at the fire station, as well as a southbound protected left turn lane for the Furniture Mart in that shopping area.
What is the definition of median break?
That median break will be southbound, will be able to have a left turn lane where they'll be able to make a left into the shopping center on the east side. So that median break will allow that left turn.
All right, but that's only one direction?
Correct.
Both ways?
No, it's just one. That one there is just one direction, southbound.
So if you're going south, you'll be able to turn left there and go in that shopping center?
Yep. Yep. We did look at several alternatives for the South Main Street, Johnson Street area because of the queuing and the traffic congestion here. This was our, this alternative had a one-way right in for South Main Street. We did realign Johnson Street as well as South Main Street on the west side. We eliminated this one when we talked to staff at the town of Roxborough. We felt that Main Street is the gateway into downtown, so they wanted that to be kind of a main access. So this is one of the other ones, and this is actually our preferred, where we have Johnson Street and South Main Street coming into one intersection. Hill Street will be a right in, right out, and then on the west side, south side, South Main Street will have a full intersection as well. A few others that we looked at is having a roundabout up at Johnson Street. Because of the impacts and it didn't really increase or help traffic that much, we eliminated this one as well. And this one we had South Main Street lined up with Hill Street with the intersection at Johnson Street with a right out for South Main Street. And this was eliminated because of the gateway into the downtown, as well as there's a lot of left turn movements from South Main Street to southbound Madison. So in terms of our schedule, it is state funded, so we do have a combined state EA FONSI that will be out later this year, along with right-of-way authorization in 2020 and let in construction in 22. So I do have the roll plots. If you wanted to take a look at those, I will leave those behind. And if there's any further questions, our next steps to have some small group meetings with businesses along the corridor, public meeting coming up within the next few months, finishing up our our environmental field work and preliminary design, and moving into the environmental document.
And what happens at these small group meetings and meetings with the public if there's absolutely negative reception to this idea?
What happens?
I mean, does DOT consider that and abandon the project?
Yes.
Okay.
Whose card do we get to send the questions to?
Whose card? You can send it to me or Ben.
Make sure Brenda has it.
Yep.
Any other questions? If not, we appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Williams?
Give it back to me. Imagine going right here and having to go all the way and turn here and go back to McDonald's.
Just been a big chunk of money here.
Right. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Shatara Williams. I am the CSBG, that's Community Service Block Grant Coordinator for Telemon Corporation. We're a multi-state nonprofit, and I'm here today to present to the board and to the public our intent to submit our reapplication for CSBG funding. We are a designated community action agency serving Rockingham, Caswell, and Person County. Our allocation is pretty small for Person County. It's $66,284, but the majority of that is going to be spent on self-sufficiency services for low-income residents of Person County. Low income being 125% of the poverty level and below. We provide services such as, losing my words. We provide services such as paying for tuition, books, licensing fees, testing fees, tools, shoes, uniforms for work. We refer people to additional services as needed when funding's available. We help with child care and emergency services to assist people in going back to school and starting new jobs. Also transportation assistance when going back to school and starting new jobs. So just wanted to notify you. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
This is one of the boards I chair. It's not listed on that list. I want y'all to know it's just another board I go to Castle County to meet on. And I attended the Castle County's board meeting this morning, and we mentioned to those commissioners when the ladies there presented the same report to them that we were missing some elected officials, and we did get one of the commissioners to agree to serve.
Oh, good.
So I'll send that name to you.
Yes, please. Alrighty. And I'll see you Thursday. Thank you.
All right. Item number 6. There's been a lot of discussion about this. Wanted to put it on the table and let's see where it goes.
Well, I'll reiterate something I said when we reorganized, I guess former chairman said about 2 years ago, and I'm going to thank him for helping me kind of prove my point today from 2 years ago, that out of those 39,000 citizens that he said that we have, 27% are black, 4.6% are Hispanic, 0.7 are American Indian, 0.5 are Asian, 2.5 are other, 1.6 are two races. It's about 36.9% that has no representation on this board with a vote. And so now that we have, with a chairman coming on the board selected, I would hope that one of these appointments or seats that come available, that we can hopefully find a minority that would be willing to serve, if it's from the business sector or where, because we do have those here in Person County as well.
Anybody got anything else? Oh, you got anything you want to add?
I'm not sure. So Ray's opinion was your opinion was for the spot, the private citizen or business
You
spot?
can have 9 on there.
And to
There's
accept,
8 including
and
his
to
seat,
accept,
correct?
yes, and to accept
So that will be
applications. Okay.
Whichever one
What
number
is, Mr. Chairman, what is, and have you designated, I know the past chairman designated Commissioner Powell to serve on EDC for his 2 years as chair. What, have you made your decision on?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
If it stays the way it is, if we look at the next agenda, or one agenda items down, our board assignments, if the chairman takes the seat that he has, then that frees up the seat he sat in as a citizen. That makes 8. And then there's still one other seat out there that we never fill, is that correct? To make it 9, or? So we have 1 seat available.
It's a community at large seat, previously held by Chairman Newell as.
Right, that makes 9, that's what I'm saying, yeah, that's the 9.
That's correct.
Right. That's all you can have to it.
That's
Right.
limited by general statute.
Mr. Chairman, could I say something, please?
Mhm.
With the reorganization of EDC, the major objective was there to create the most effective EDC board that we could have, with members from the community that were heavily involved in business. And I think the evidence is profound that this board has done, and you sat there in meetings we've had for the past couple of years, and it has been a very enlightening experience to sit in the room with some movers and shakers within the community and to see the outcome of the discussions we've had very candidly, and never an argument, never a crossword, positive outcomes there in discussions. And as you well know, we had 9 meetings that amounted to approximately 500 hours of discussion about Person County, economic growth, and the future and its needs. And misrepresentation has never been a point of consideration that I'm aware of. Always spoke of the full county, border to border, without any breakdown there whatsoever as far as the population that we serve. And I'm very proud of what has happened on that board in the past 2 years. And we have got a lot of momentum going there that's evidenced by what has happened in recent months. It was a very, very good feeling to sit about a year ago in the room with who is now the manager of Pollywood and openly discuss the positives of Person County, what Person County could offer, and a very good feeling to know that that board had the backing at that point for extra incentives for Pollywood, and of course the rest is history. And we're moving in the right direction in some other areas, and I don't have any problem with what Mr. Jeffers is saying, and that's, to me, that's not an issue. I just don't want to see that board broken up in any way. The momentum slowed down that has been occurring and is moving forward right now. So again, I'm very proud of that board and what has happened for the citizens of Person County in the past 2 years, and eagerly look to the future and further advancements in economic development.
I've heard this board talk time and time about perception that Person County has when we have all these 3-2 votes and things like that, when we don't agree when we're up here. What perception are we giving outside community when at one time, other than the mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, there was no women that had any vote on that board once it was reorganized? Is that correct? Until we gave the mayor a vote? And now we have a whole population that's not even represented on the Economic Development Board with a vote. So it may not be a problem within your eyes, but I think if we think perception amongst our county borders, what do others think?
I'd like to offer a solution. I would like to designate the seat on the county commissioners to Mr. Powell, if he will accept it. And I would like to make a motion that the vacant seat be filled by a minority. Be designated as a minority seat. So that, not just one time, but I mean, that particular seat would offer representation to, and I don't mean just somebody, a placeholder, I mean somebody that can participate and add to the discussion. We can't ignore the fact that, well, I mean, everybody makes the world go round. Mr. Powell, would you be willing to take the commission?
I'd be honored to.
All right.
Thank you.
So we would only need a motion to change the whatever to designate it as a minority seat. We're not saying now, we're saying from here forth, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
You'd like that reflected in the resolution?
Yes.
Now, in the resolution that's on the packet, it states that a second commissioner representative will serve as ex officio.
That was what was proposed at the time that the packet was released.
Is that still being proposed?
Sounds like he's amended his.
Well, I didn't realize that was part of the packet, but, I would like to serve as ex officio for a year, just to give some continuity to the committee. If that's acceptable.
Okay.
Is that form of a motion?
Yeah.
I mean, you're the chairman.
You running the meeting so far, you're doing a better job than I am tonight. No voting right, no, just an advisory.
And attend meetings like any of the commissioners can without designating an ex officio for a year seat if you want.
Well, if he wants to be ex officio, I don't have an issue with it. So, does that include in your motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, just to make sure that the staff and the attorney has it, is the board moving toward the position of chair that is in the resolution be designated as it was in the existing for Mr. Powell to serve in that designated position, for a minority position to be placed in the resolution, intention to be that's a permanent minority representative to be chosen by the board, and that the existing chair would serve ex officio without a vote for 1 year. Is that where the board's going?
Well, I don't know if it's so much chair, it's just
Mr. Then for by name, the chair, not by position, to serve ex officio, because it sounds like that you're moving toward Mr. Powell being designated to sit as representing the chair position, just like last time.
Voting member.
As a voting member, but the named chair not as a position, but as a person to be designated as an ex officio non-voting member.
I see
what
that.
you're trying to do?
Mm-hmm.
We can put the language together if we get the policy right, what you want to do. Was that clear enough? Everyone know where you want to go, and do we understand where you want to go?
So that would mean going forward each year that a different chair is elected from EDC, that position becomes an ex officio?
No, Ron said
No.
name only, not position.
Name
So
only.
we're saying
We're
David
gonna
Newell
amend it
for a
for
year
David
is ex
Newell.
officio.
The board chooses the ex officio, not by position.
As the ex-speaker of the North Carolina House, Mr. Ramsey used to say, it's your decision, we just wanna make sure we understand what you want. Do we need to state it again, or do we have it?
Well, my intention was to designate Mr. Powell, but I would like to serve as, just, and I don't know that that's all that necessary. But to give some continuity to the board, EDC board, I would like to serve a year as ex officio.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Attorney, I see where they're going with the two positions, I got that. But if you're gonna designate the other position as a minority position, doesn't that need to be in two motions? Don't you need one doing the commissioner stuff and another one for the minority position?
You can do it in two motions, or you can do it in one wraparound motion if you want to.
Well, as far as me designating Mr. Powell, that doesn't need a motion.
Right, that's not even a board issue, that's your issue.
Because that's the
Finally got it.
existing
That's your-
rule
that's
that we
your issue.
have, that the chair.
But making
gets
you
to
ex officio
Yes, sir.
is one thing, and then making the vacant position a minority is another, in my opinion. But now, I'm not an attorney, you are.
But you, sometimes laypersons get it better than lawyers.
Well, just remove the ex officio part of it. If Mr. Allen or anybody needs me, I'll be available.
You need to be a member of the board.
I just, so,
No vote.
you
Like a
know,
minority.
She doesn't have a vote.
so,
She's ex officio.
so you said it all could be one loop in motion
Make her the minority representative.
of the minority
Make her the
representative.
minority representative.
The,
Excuse me.
all right,
You can put it all
In one
in
motion.
one motion, but we ought to be very clear what your policy is.
Mr. Jeffers, or Vice Chairman Jeffers, does your motion include?
I didn't make a motion.
I thought you just made a motion. You said,
Mr. Chairman made a motion.
okay. I'll make the motion. Oh, you made the motion. Does your
Make
motion,
a
does your overlooping, is this an overlooping motion to include the minority position, which we will issue out, we would, do advertising for, and
Proceed applications.
proceed applications? Have we set a term limit for that application?
No, it's
Be
already
on
stated,
a
the term
five-year
limit's
basis,
already
just
in
like
there.
Okay,
all
but-
of
Needs
the
to be
rest.
like the rest of them.
Okay, all right, I didn't know if we need to compensate, cause I know when everybody comes up at one time, I didn't know if you wanted to match when everybody came up at one time to be included in that.
With 5-year terms.
And when were the last ones put on?
The current terms expire in 2022 for the citizens at large.
So I,
Okay, that's fine with making it easy.
Current,
Okay.
Same term.
same term, and to also include that this board is, putting an ex officio member, one of us, a non-voting member, on economic development by our choosing, not the chair's designation, but this board's choosing for David Newell. Because we're doing it by position, just whoever's chairman next year or year after that doesn't get the ex officio position.
Your policy decision, but I heard this person say that he would want a position as ex officio, non-voting, specifically in his name for a one-year term.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
if I
then
heard it
after
correctly,
that, there would be, unless you amend it again, there would be no other one-year term ex officio. That would expire with the 1 year
that the chair said he would like to have.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I understood. He just wants to kind of
Transition.
transition through for this year, and next year it may not be 2 commissioners on there. We're doing this for 1 year.
Yeah.
That's your
Okay.
policy.
All right.
Yeah.
So, all right. Call the question.
All right,
I want you to repeat the motion.
the motion is to designate okay. Brenda, can you read it back to me?
Yeah, but I also heard you say you were withdrawing your part of that motion, but, so just wanna clarify that you wanna designate one of the citizen at large seats, when you currently have 6 members at large appointed by the Board of County Commissioners, each running concurrently 5-year terms. So now you'd like to add 1 member at large for a minority affiliation to represent the minority position,
Yes.
to which, as discussed, would be advertised and appointed by this Board of Commissioners. In addition, you had asked, included in your motion, to ask for a 1-year service by yourself to be a non-voting ex officio member, to which you then hinted that you may withdraw that motion, so I just want to
Well,
clarify.
just scratch that part. I'm gonna leave it in.
Okay, leave it in, okay, got it. So
All right.
that's what we're voting on.
All right.
6 ex officios.
Yeah.
6, one of which will be.
One of which will be.
Are we doing this all as one motion, the minority part and the?
Yeah,
Well, I support the minority part, but I'm not sure about the other part. You satisfied with that? You sure? Mr. Attorney?
It is the province of this board and any board member to move to divide the motion into component parts. So one of you could move to divide the motion into each of the component parts. If that motion passes, then you could vote on each of the component parts.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we divide the motion into 2 parts. One part dealing with the ex officio and the other part with the minority appointment.
all right, let's vote on the minority part first.
The first, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. First,
You got to vote on my,
see if there is support for Mr.
Right.
Clayton's motion. If that motion
I made that
passes,
motion to divide it.
to divide.
All right.
Motion to divide is.
Now, does the board support that?
All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's now divided.
That's divided. Now, I
All
don't
right.
care which part you take first.
Okay,
All right. Now so we gotta make a new motion now, correct? All right. Motion to appoint David Newell as ex officio of EDC for a 1-year term.
Non-voting.
Non-voting ex officio member, 1-year term.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Motion to amend the bylaws to accept a minority member on PCBIC EDC with terms set to expire in 2022 and to begin the advertising process.
You got it, but it's gonna continue is when they apply after 2022, the way you worded it sounds like it means it's 2022, but it will for henceforth be
It will still be a
designated for minority.
position.
That person's
Yeah, that
term
yeah.
would expire in 2022.
It wouldn't make any difference. Whatever's there would be there.
all right. We know what we're voting on?
I repeat that, Madam Clerk. Good luck.
Don't repeat what Kyle said, just tell us what we're doing.
So this motion would include 1 member of membership to represent the minority affiliation to serve the same term expiring as the other members expiring in 2022. And for the advertising to be set to accept applications.
Does that make that a permanent seat?
Yes, that would be included in the resolution of membership to make it a permanent seat, only with the term running concurrently and with the end in 2022.
All right, everybody ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we got that settled. All right, Sherry, if you come forward and let's,
Good evening.
good evening.
With the Person County Mega Park, we're at the stage of submitting the permit application for the environmental permitting from the Army Corps of Engineers. As a result of the option assignment from PCBIC to Person County, we would like to request that this board authorize the chairman to sign the application on behalf of Person County.
All right, any questions? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Item 7.
Okay, also given the
Hey,
option
excuse me.
assignment from PCBIC to Person County and upon the recommendation of the county attorney, we would ask you to authorize PCBIC to act on behalf of Person County for actions related to the Person County Mega Park going forward.
One further addition, Mr. Chairman. This is all occasioned by the change in option ownership that you did several weeks ago. And there is no problem, but just to make sure, the action ought to be to ratify all previous actions of PCBIC regarding the mega park and to authorize PCBIC to act for the county in future actions related to mega parks. Saying what's been done in the past is okay and we approve, and in the future you're authorized to act for the county as you move forward in the mega park.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval with the attorney's language.
That the recommended action is on your agenda items. We've got the exact words for you.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. You on a roll, Sherry, keep going.
Okay. On December 12th, we received bids to construct the water line to the Person County Mega Park. I'll go ahead and read. The recommended action is for the commissioners to request to award the contract as recommended to HG Reynolds Company based on the total base bid of $1,180,250 and to authorize the county manager to execute that contract. And this recommendation was submitted by Labella Associates, and we have Mr. Keith Garbert and Don Garbert here from Labella if you have any questions around that contract.
Have the bids come back in?
Yes, the bids are in your packet, the bid tabulations.
I didn't bring my computer. You got a lease sheet. All right, Mr. Labella, you have a recommendation?
Yes, we do. Again, our recommendation is to award the contract to the single prime construction contract be awarded to HG Reynolds out of Henderson, North Carolina, for the amount of $1,180,250.
All right, if I remember right, that grant was for $1.6 million. Anyway, we can add some more pipeline to it.
What we'd like to do is have the option to meet with the Department of Commerce and see how we can optimize the grant amount with some extension of the proposed water line further into the industrial park and some modifications such as that.
Okay. All right. We have a motion to accept their recommendation.
So moved.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Get us as much water line as you can. next item, is committee assignments. Is that what is everybody comfortable with the committees that they had? I'm the only newcomer.
You a couple mine.
Huh?
Nothing. Nothing.
We don't need a motion, do we?
No, it's chairman's discretion.
Have any changes from presented? Yeah. I have the notes about the Economic Development Commission, if there's any others, or we can, if it's consensus to accept as presented.
All right. We have a motion.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All righty. Sound like we're getting tired.
I do, one question. David was on the E&A board. So that David was on the E&A board as a, so is he gonna serve, but I thought that E&A board was, I'm sorry, E&R board. I thought you served on it when you, I know that, but I thought you served on it as a citizen, did you not?
No, he was a commissioner.
We appointed former commissioners, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought when David went off, when you served on the,
Well, if it did, I served a couple of years that I wasn't supposed to.
okay, I just didn't know if that
It was
was,
still a valid appointment.
okay,
It still
okay,
is. It
okay,
still is.
okay, I just didn't know if we,
Come off.
okay.
All righty. Brenda, you got
Give me,
some committee
Yes, sir.
people that want to serve?
Yes, sir. The Preston County Board of Commissioners solicited
Yes, that's
volunteers to
before.
fill positions on the following
Served on
boards,
3 years on
commissions,
this.
authorities, and committees through advertisement in the Courier Times edition that was dated November 14, 2018, with notice to submit applications by the deadline of December 11, 2018. So I am tonight presenting to you interested citizen application for consideration for appointments. So I would ask the board to nominate and appoint as deemed appropriate. The first one on your list that has applications is the Airport Commission. We have a 3-year term, 1 at-large position available. We have 2 applications. Henry Newell Sr. is requesting reappointment, and James E. Poindexter Jr. is requesting appointment on that.
Move to appoint Henry Newell Jr.
I'm gonna make a comment. I think both of these are very, very, well qualified to serve on it. I know Henry's been on there for a long time, and Mr. Poindexter, out of the 2 candidates, was the only one who reached out to me to ask for my support. So I will, in no way, shape, or form am I saying that Mr. Newell was not qualified for the position, but out of respect, after I received a phone call and asked, he was the only one who asked for my support, so I will move to appoint James E. Poindexter.
All right.
All right, so we have 2 nominations for appointments, so I guess we would similarly ask for reverse order by show of hands. If you would, please raise your hand if you'd like to vote with Kyle's motion to appoint James Poindexter Jr. to the Airport Commission. Okay? So we only have 1 vote for that. So now I'd like to see a show of hands following Commissioner Clayton's nomination to reappoint Henry Newell Jr. Excuse me. All right. Thank you. The next one for consideration is the Animal Services Advisory Committee. A former commissioner, Tracy Kendrick, who served as a commissioner or representative on the Animal Services Committee, has requested appointment as a citizen at large, which we had 1 vacancy for several months now.
Any more applications?
We did not have any
Check the mail, check the mail today.
You doing a background check?
I did.
Move to appoint Tracy Kendrick.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right, next would be your Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. We have a 2-year term and one application, which is a reappointment request representing mental health for Martha Pickett.
Move for approval.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right, your next one to consider tonight is our PATS board, the Person Area Transportation System. We have, a designated slot representing the health department, and Pamela Cook is requesting appointment, to represent the health department. The previous person has decided not to reapply, so that created a vacancy. Also, we have a designated slot for representing DSS. Melinda Hudson has requested reappointment, has been serving in that capacity. And then we also have a seat for Person Industries to be represented, and the person who was serving decided not to reapply. So we had another employee of PI already on the committee serving as a citizen rep. So a request has been made to move Kim Morgan to serve as the Person Industries representative under her current term, which would thereby create a vacancy for a citizen.
Move for approval.
All in favor? Aye.
Yeah.
I'll wake y'all up.
That's right, thank you, sir. And the last one for consideration tonight is the Tourism Development Authority, 3-year term, 1 position available. We have 2 applications. Sally Humphreys requested appointment. Zachary Wynn requested appointment, but I would like to note that his application did come in behind the deadline for your consideration.
You'd to appoint Sally Humphreys.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's it.
That's all I have tonight, thank you.
All righty, as chairman report, I don't have anything, well, I do have one thing I would like to explore. I'd like to make a motion that we instruct the county manager to investigate what the price would be to buy that property next to the senior center for future expansion.
Yes, I will do that.
We need a vote.
How's your bills?
Who scored? Clemson, Alabama.
All right.
Other
Other than that, sir?
Describe that property. East, north, west, south?
The property between the existing senior center and Dan Creek.
Okay, and that is property owned by?
Dan Creek.
Right, Dan, yeah.
And his partner.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
I will report back.
That's the only thing I've got.
I wanted to announce the location of the board retreat. Your retreat's scheduled for February 4th, and we were trying to find a suitable location that was available for that day. And we're gonna hold it at the library gallery. We'll start at 9, and again, it'll follow a half-day schedule, just like last year, at the request of board members. So I'll have a draft agenda in the works and start floating that out for discussion in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, that fire department's on
Commissioner Jeffers wants somebody from the Office of State Fire Marshal to come and discuss obtaining a lower ISO rating, so that is up for discussion.
there. Well, they did it in Caswell County. We should be able to do it too. Anything else?
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right. Anybody else got anything you want to talk about tonight?
I will say that I did go to the Caswell County Board this morning for the press conference, where Caswell County did lower their ISO rating countywide, and including some more fire department, which covers a portion of Person County. Those people in Person County will now go to a 4. So that's why I want the state to come to us at the board retreat and say, if Caswell can do it, Person can do it, and what we need to do to get it done. Also, I want to announce that I was invited to serve on the North Carolina Leadership Forum, 34 bipartisan leaders across the state. I'm reading the letter, what the letter says. 34 bipartisan leaders from across the state were asked to join the forum this year, and the topic of discussion this year for the forum to address is former legislators, current legislators, commissioners, city council, private sector, public sector, nonprofit. They will be discussing the role that school choice plays in North Carolina elementary and secondary education, and the array of education options that the state should fund in order to provide a quality education for every child. They will discuss charter schools, vouchers, homeschooling, local districts, school boards, and other related important issues that you identify over the course of this program. It's about a 10-month program. Let me add that to my list.
Yes, sir.
All right. I need a motion to go into a closed session to enter into, for the purpose to consult with the county attorney in order to preserve attorney-client privilege with the following individuals permitted to attend: County Manager Heidi York, Clerk to the Board Brenda Reeves, County Attorney Ron Adcock, County Assistant Manager Sylvia Tate, and Planning Director Laurie Oakley. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor? All right.
We don't
Thank
need
you
a-
all for coming.